Hello everybody, I am speaking as moderator for group 3. In our questions, according to White, in the Camacho text, what kinds of pollution create hazards where we live? Why are those different for some demographic groups? I think that all three of us in group 3 got to the heart of these first two questions. Jonathan and Kristen both made connections to the Leopold reading and validated what the author said in this article with personal experiences and real-life observations. Jonathan lives in Ashland near an oil refinery and a solvent plant, and he points out that many of the people that work in these places are from out of town. He observes that there seems to be a certain apathy about the effects that the place that they work has on the area around it. Since the workers do not live near the area where it's getting polluted, they seem to not really care about the problem since it does not affect their personal lives or their families. Kristen had two family members who worked in a place that were exposed to asbestos, and one of them died from asbestos-related cancer. She pointed out this sad reality. The one member who did not die, fortunately, from being exposed at work, was in a supervisory position and didn't put him at the same level of risk. I'm very sorry for Kristen and her family to have to live with this loss, and it is one that clearly demonstrates the harsh reality of demographic inequity that's talked about in this article. Kristen also lives in Appalachia, and she points out that the cheapest places to live is usually by the areas that are most polluted, and one of them is a great big landfill. And she also points out that aside from these economic factors, the places being cheaper and people who don't have as much money are going to live in places that are cheaper, these people may not even be aware that the pollution is the reason for getting sick. And because of the lack of education and lack of opportunity, they're deprived of exposure to information. These are interesting considerations to add. Now, the next question, according to Bookchin, what is an ecological society? I thought this was interesting that Kristen and Jonathan understood an ecological society to be something that resembles a hippie commune or a place that calls for people to reject society as we know it and get back to nature by joining some sort of de-evolved alternative community lifestyle. Kristen points out that it's good that some people are willing to do this, but questions if an ecological society offers a feasible solution. And I have to agree with her that it's not realistic to expect people will ever willingly make this sort of lifestyle shift in any broad scale. However, this is where our thoughts diverge, because I don't think this is what the author meant by an ecological society. And I think this because the author, he builds upon this concept of an ecological society by continually referencing various social and political philosophies that call for a lot more than just getting back to the land. An ecological society consists of people who behave with a collective reverence and respect for the natural system that they share, just like in organic communities or pre-literate tribal systems. But I thought the author was developing the idea that we need to change how we act toward one another, and that this is the sort of retrofitting of consciousness that humanity has to have before the changes that we are making scientifically will ever be capable of being put into practice. On page 343, he makes the case for the development of modern society as part of a natural evolution and suggests that the socially cooperative elements of primitive systems is actually a necessary human function. Therefore, it's necessary for this aspect of human nature to evolve if we want our societies to succeed. The creation of our industrial society mandates an evolution of the familial kinship to include all our human associations with the same committed sense of protectiveness, a drive for provision, and a desire to preserve. So, an ecological society is one where the people perceive everyone in their community with the same conscientious regard that we have for the safety and well-being of our immediate families. An ecological society is one that will be able to implement the sustainable practices because its members consider the well-being of one another as paramount. That's it for this week, and thank you very much for listening.